Cousin Internet. It's me, Cousin Todd, with Mama's Comedy Show. And with me is Cousin Alan.
Hey, how are you, everybody? Hello, you, the listener. Nice to see you or hear you.
Wow, but you're not hearing them.
I'm neither hearing them or seeing them, but I hope it's nice for you to hear me.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad. This is my first post-pandemic in the theater.
Yeah?
I did the convention, MegaCon.
Oh, right.
Back in the spring, but haven't been here since the pandemic.
It's been a mixed bag.
Okay.
Like, it has been, some nights it's great and we're full, and other nights there's like less than half of the audience.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that is, it's not just us. Like when I see the other theaters around,
right,
I'm seeing the same thing, like half full audiences, and I don't know. I don't know if it's just there is a percentage of people who aren't going out, or I mean, I feel like everyone I know is going out and doing things again.
right.
I don't know why the theater in particular. I mean, maybe movies are just coming back extra hard.
Potentially. I mean, like, well, compared to pre-pandemic, we also had our off nights then as well. So
yeah, we did, but it was different.
Okay.
It was like a different level. Like our off nights then, you know, we would, you know, in a room that seats 100 roughly, our off nights were like just under 50.
Okay.
And now it's like, I don't know. It's just a different. It's like we're putting out the same show.
Right.
I mean, not the same. It's different every time, but it's a good show. Like I'm proud of everything that we've done. But yeah, there really is like, and the audiences love it. Like every week, audiences like we have more people returning. But yeah, it's just, and maybe it's,
is it expectations? Because when we had that pent up demand and you came back and you're like, oh, of course, there's going to be this enthusiasm in this audience. And
because it's not even like the lulls that we would have between seasons.
Okay.
Before.
It's different.
It's different.
All right.
And maybe a lot of that because our host theater here, like we see their numbers are lower. Our friends in other theaters nearby, they're commenting on, you know, more empty seats than not. And I'm wondering maybe Universal and Disney are just doing a better job at retaining people on their property.
Potentially, yeah.
But I mean, I see iDrive is packed. I mean, it's people out partying.
Right.
But that brings us to a topic.
Let's hear it.
That I had mentioned to you just before we started recording. The Orlando Weekly is reporting that Orlando has done it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Finally.
We were named the most.
Yes.
The most overrated and disappointing city in the world for tourists.
What in the holy hell?
Apparently it's according to TripAdvisor. It says the City Beautiful placed number one in a recent report. There we go. We did it. Compiled by a luggage company based in the UK.
Luggage company. Okay.
Research was done to find out which cities around the world led tourists to experience Paris syndrome.
Oh.
In which travelers are left disheartened as their vacation destination did not live up to the expectation.
So Paris used to have the prize here.
Well, I think that's the name of it because it was.
But
Paris,
if it's named after Paris,
yeah, Paris should be pissed off at us right now for
we stole their title.
We're the new Paris. That's what we should say. Orlando instead of the City Beautiful. We'll say Orlando, Florida, the new Paris.
The new Paris. Be as disappointed as you were in Paris.
So yeah, TripAdvisor.
Did they give any reasoning behind this, or did it just like this percentage of people were disappointed?
Well, let's see. The assessment
my guess
revealed
is it's Disney. That's my guess.
Maybe because they kind of pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
The assessment revealed Orlando had the highest number of complaints with visitors feeling that the city did not deliver the magic they had hoped for.
Magic. Already there.
Out of over 9,000 reviews, nearly 1 of 5 tourists vented about how underwhelmed and let down they were by their visit to Orlando. Over 19% of visitors left negative comments about Orlando in the reviews on the website. And I'm wondering if Disney has the clout to just say those reviews were about Disney, but for the article, just make it Orlando in general.
Ooh, so they weren't gonna badmouth their bread and butter,
Right?
Possibly. Okay.
I mean, Disney's got some big dick energy in town.
I see that.
Over 19% of visitors left negative comments about Orlando in the reviews on the website, as reported by the Daily Mail.
I want some details what they didn't like.
Most complaints frequently mentioned increased prices at theme parks, large crowds.
Yeah.
8.4% of reviews included mentions of rude people, which, I mean, it's a tourist destination, so people from all over are rude. You can't blame us on that.
Right. No, exactly. It's not the people of Orlando. I agree.
I mean,
all these things you've listed so far, I'm like, Disney's the number one culprit in all of those. Like, the number one issue I have with even visiting Disney property is how rude the guests are to other guests.
Yeah. Well,
it's terrible.
There's a sense of entitlement that they have of, I paid this much for a ticket, so fuck you. I'm going to do what I want. And it's
been building since pre-pandemic. Like, it's been getting bad, but I can understand why now, when there's all this, quote, revenge traveling,
right?
When people are just cramming into the parks and Disney's not doing a great job of metering either expectations or how to crowd control. They're cutting back on
I'll say this
staff.
About Disney is I went with my sister and her family maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
With Disney now, you have to plan your trip months ahead of time.
Right.
And that's the most, I don't want to do that.
No.
I want to go there. There were rides that I couldn't even get into line for.
Mm-hmm.
And why can't I even stand in like a standby line?
Right.
To get on, because it doesn't exist.
They took the option away.
Yeah. You should have done that a month ago.
On your phone or
right.
whatever. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when I got the tickets, I went to make my reservation for the park. I was 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
There were immediately the big parks I couldn't go to.
You couldn't even get into the park, let alone your rides.
I had to, I could. I wanted to go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I had to start off my day at Epcot, and I couldn't go to the Magic Kingdom until after 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that's the way it works.
That's their rule. Yeah.
Yeah. So the research report analyzed 826,292 TripAdvisor reviews of 100 of the world's most visited tourist attractions. Out of 95 global cities, Orlando had the most negative reviews.
Mm-hmm. I'm blaming Disney. I haven't been to Disney since 2020. Which already it had its pandemic measures in place.
Right.
But I think that was before the, quote, revenge traveling started. That's pre-vaccine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so now post-vaccine and the revenge traveling, and it's just a nightmare. And every one of those complaints I know I've had with Disney. I've been to, within the last few months, I've been to Universal, I've been to SeaWorld. Totally manageable experience.
Right.
More or less the same experience I had pre-pandemic. And I don't think any of those complaints I had at those parks.
And the problem is, you're right. It is more than likely Disney is the biggest culprit.
Yeah.
But what sucks is the rest of, poor SeaWorld. SeaWorld didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
They're just, the little kid sister that's always, tagging along with the big kids. But yeah, they get the wrath of, I'll say this as well. Shitty people are everywhere. Yeah, like as far as tourists go. Mm-hmm. No matter what park you visit, there are going to be people that shit. And this gets into a bigger discussion of what's causing people to be so much more entitled and selfish lately.
Right.
Is it a political thing? Did the political turmoil that the country has experienced in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Just the divisiveness. Did that just get people in the mood to fight and feel entitled for things? Or I don't know what caused it, but people definitely, and maybe could very well be the ticket price increase.
Yeah.
That Disney really does lead.
Yeah, very much so.
What's a Disney ticket price now?
$150 for one park, I think.
Get the fuck out.
A 1 day, one park, yeah.
And I can't even get in a standby line. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
I've done some traveling. I was in Mexico a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was on Thanksgiving week.
Right.
And like the people at the airport in Mexico were pretty darn manageable. I know there was some heavy crowds and like there were some things I might have had some issues with, but it wasn't like look, Disney Springs.
Right.
I'm not even talking about paying for admission.
Yeah.
There's some attitude at Disney Springs that's a major issue, and it's all guests.
I paid $14 for this hot dog. You got to let me spit on you.
I don't know. I need to describe this situation. And this was like, if you want to get political, it was shortly after the 2016 election.
Okay. Around
that time. But I was in the Coca-Cola store. And maybe it was too much caffeine in this guy. I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know if you've ever been there. On the ground floor, there's an elevator. And I'm like, where do I stand for the elevator? I'm looking at the elevator. What floor are the two elevator shafts on? I look down at the floor. There's these diagonal white lines in front of the doors. And I'm like, I guess I'm not supposed to stand here. And then I'm standing. I'm looking at which elevator is going to be next. Okay, I guess it's the one on my left. And this guy over my left shoulder goes, yeah, you can wait in line. And I go, do you have a line here? And he goes, yes, there's a line. It couldn't be more obvious. All you would have to do is open your eyes. And behind him, there's a 7-file row of, however many people.
Right.
But it's like 7 people standing next to each other doesn't usually equate a line.
Right.
Something that's linear. It's a crowd. And I didn't notice that. I'm looking at like 3 different things.
Yeah.
This guy's out of his mind. And then he starts yelling at my mom, who walks in like moments later, and she's also equally confused. There's a line! There's a line! And the people with him are yelling at her. And it's just like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
This absolute tight, twisted anger.
What I feel like, what I'm trying to figure out is how do I tap into that rage and get those people to do my bidding?
Yes.
I've said, maybe we said this on the last podcast but it's something that I've talked to someone about. I've been listening to some podcasts about cults and I'm like, man, there's a sweet spot in that cult life where you have it all. You have it all. And then they're always like, all right, let's go kill that sheriff. and then it's like, well, that was where your cult fell apart.
Right.
Your cult fell apart when you were like, hey, bring me your daughters.
Yes.
For a while though, yeah,
you had it.
Yeah, you were like, hey,
people are serving martinis and
God
doing everything for free.
God spoke to me last night and told, no shit. I think this was David Koresh, who told the women of his group, God wants me to put my seed in you. And I was like, son of a bitch. I've never even tried that line. I've never been bold enough to try that line, but God dang it. He had the balls.
He did, literally. That's where the seeds come from.
Yeah, I mean, the entitlement thing sucks. And there is it's a growing problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a solution. And, to be fair, our ticket price at Mama's is so low because I don't want we were asked to raise our prices
really
significantly
by the venue.
Yes.
Interesting.
And it became a big back and forth that I don't want to do that because I feel like I would rather compete with a movie theater.
Yeah.
Like we're a movie ticket.
Absolutely.
And if for some reason people come in here and we shit the bed or they just don't like the show.
Right.
They're like, oh, we wasted $15.
Right.
But we got 2 hours out of it.
That's right. And everything else, drinks, food that you paid for,
right.
You can blame that price of that food on that experience.
Well, so, and I managed other venues and other shows where the ticket prices were astronomically higher. Where we're
just
15,
for the entertainment.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're $15 here for our show, but we give you that discount card. So it's $10 every time you come after that and you get a free show. Some of these other venues, the gate price at the door is $74
with no food included.
You get food,
okay,
but the food. Let's be real about it. Any dinner show you go to,
yeah, but assume the food is worth $20.
Yeah, even still,
that's $50 for entertainment. That's pretty steep.
And this is a Disney thing also, but when you charge for parking. At a place where I am spending thousands of dollars to patronize,
right?
That is infuriating.
Well, and it was only within the last year or so they started charging hotel guests
Yeah,
for parking.
get the fuck out of here. Like I'm spending like depending on the hotel, between $100 and $300 a night.
Right.
You're charging me $40 or $50 to park my car so that I can spend money in your place.
Right.
Eh,
It's like just include that in the price of me staying there.
And don't tell me. Just say, hey, it's instead of $100 a night, it's $150 a night. Parking's included though, so don't worry about your car. I will feel so much better.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. How do we fix America, Alan?
How do I take away people's feelings of entitlement? I don't know about that. I just know that on a personal basis, you vote with your feet. If something costs too much, find a different option.
Right.
And there's so many other options, like us,
Yeah.
right? We're reasonable price.
That's why we're slow right now. Is we're waiting for those people to walk.
They got to figure out.
Um,
Disney is too expensive. Come here.
Yeah. Well, gosh, God, you remember? I have no proof of this, but you remember back in the day, in the early days of TripAdvisor for us, when it was top things to do in Orlando.
Right.
We were in the top 5.
Right.
And 2 of those things, or 3 of those other things, were Disney and Universal. And
as the theme park or a show within the theme park?
We'd gone against Fantasmic, and the
Right.
minute we passed Fantasmic,
Mm-hmm.
like it was the very next week.
Yeah.
I think we'd moved from number 3 to number 2 of things to do in Orlando.
Right.
We got entirely moved into another category.
Okay. Oh, they moved us out of that category.
Out of that category.
So that we didn't beat out. Oh, it's that Disney dollar again.
I have no proof that that's what happened, but it was literally the week after we passed Disney as things to do.
Really? Oh, wow.
Because I remember thinking it was funny,
right.
that Disney charges hundreds of dollars and that this little show that makes dick jokes and fart sounds
and free parking.
Yeah, and free parking. That we passed them in guest reviews.
Mm.
But then they got the last laugh because we can't afford that clout.
Okay.
Like we can't afford to go, hey, TripAdvisor, we'll stop not advertising with you if you don't
There you have it.
move Disney into nightlife.
Well, we figured it out. They own TripAdvisor. They make sure that they use the word Orlando instead of Disney. And they make sure that Mama's not in any of their categories.
We just got put on a kill list by someone listening. Is like, fuck, they found us.
They're listening.
Yeah. So that's basically that. Do you have holiday plans?
Well, we just got back from an international vacation. We went to Cabo San Lucas for Thanksgiving. My wife didn't want to cook.
That's a very American way of celebrating by going to another country.
Just leaving, getting out.
And
but as far as Christmas, we're going to stay home. It'll be relatively chill, I think, by comparison. Yeah, it'll be nice.
We're leaving. For years, my family has asked, because they all want to get together for Christmas, and they would say, hey, can you get off on Christmas? And I was like, no, as an entertainer, we just can't. Like it's the busiest time of year for us. But like the past 5-6 years, we've started getting together the week before Christmas.
Okay.
So normally we go up to Cincinnati, and this year we're all meeting in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, that's a great place.
Yeah. So I'm
that
leaving
in
there.
Hendersonville. It's a great area.
Henderson. I've been there.
Yeah.
We're leaving on Wednesday to do a week with my family. And
nice.
Renette, my assistant, my personal assistant, Renette.
Okay.
She
the one that buys you all your clothes?
Yeah. And makes my meals.
Yeah.
And, her family is Muslim.
Uh-huh.
So there is no Christmas. There is no, who are we going to spend Christmas with? It's real easy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yeah, we're going up to do that. And,
is her family in North Carolina?
No, they're here.
That's yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so hers is down here.
My brother and his family are in North Carolina. My mom and my sister are in Ohio.
Okay.
Asheville, someone in the family said, hey, what if we all met somewhere in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, great, because normally that's a drive for us because we take our dogs.
To Ohio?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's got to be
what Renette and I have done in the past is we will stop at like an Airbnb somewhere halfway.
Mm-hmm.
like do 2 days, like play with the dogs, go somewhere, go hiking, go find some mountains. And so this time I thought, oh man, this is like an 8 or 9 hour drive. Like this is more manageable.
Right.
And we're still doing an Airbnb, but like we're just going up 2 days before everyone else. And we're staying at a cute Airbnb that's got a little doggy bar and fenced in backyard so the dogs can run around. I really want them to see snow because they've never seen snow.
The dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have dogs?
I do not. No. We my family has 2 guinea pigs and a parakeet.
Don't put a guinea pig in the snow.
No.
But or a parakeet.
No.
My older dogs, or the ones who are gone now, when they got in the snow for the first time, it was the most like amazing thing to watch because you see a dog jump into this snow and have this frozen moment of what the fuck is going on, and then a minute later they are rolling and running, and it is the most like they're having the time of their lives.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah, so I'm hoping. I don't think I'm gonna, unless I drive, like 45 minutes north to the mountains. But if that's the case, then I'm gonna do a day skiing and to hell with everyone else.
Oh, I can't wait for this sleepover bus thing to catch on. Have you seen like online? Like they actually have a bus that goes from Washington D.C. to Nashville, and the seats recline like those fancy international planes do.
Right, yeah.
That do full bed on. They do that in the bus. They seat about 20 people in the bus, and you can sleep on this thing. It's like a 12-hour drive. I'm like, this is what we've been needing for years.
Have you? I mean, it'd be great if it drove overnight too, so that
it does. Well, that route goes overnight. It leaves at like 7:30 p.m. arrives at 7:30 a.m.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, then yeah, you just spend a few hours pissing away on your phone and then just pass out.
Pass out, and your whole trip's pretty much done while you sleep.
I've said before, like those Japanese pod hotels. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Where it's like basically a coffin,
a drawer, a file cabinet.
Yeah, that you crawl inside. Yeah. I was like, at what point would it be like? And this would be pretty great. And I'm sure that there are legal ramifications to this, but you want to go to London, but it's expensive to go there.
Yeah.
But hey, we have like a jumbo cargo plane that is those pods.
Right.
And so you climb in, settle in, and then they gas everybody.
Oh no.
So you're asleep.
Yeah.
Right? So but you're just in a pod, and then 10 to 12 hours later you wake up refreshed in another country.
So I'm assuming the pilots have gas masks on. You don't want them getting a whiff of the cabin.
I mean, if they do, you won't know.
Oh, right. You'll just wake up in the afterlife.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yes.
All right. We should start wrapping things up so we can get ready for a show. But Alan.
Yes.
What did you learn tonight?
I learned that TripAdvisor is on the take for Disney.
I don't think that's a secret. I think anyone who lives here knows that. But I learned something too. I learned that God, I had this problem last time too.
Oh, you couldn't remember what you learned?
Yeah. I learned that Disney is responsible for 95% of unhappy people in Orlando. But then again, I feel like everyone knew that already too.
another well-known Orlando fact.
All right. Well, we're Mama's Comedy Show. We're here every Friday night at 8 p.m. Call 407-363-1985 to make a reservation. December 23rd is our 13th annual Christmas show. So book tickets for that. Alan, where can people find you? Do you have anything coming up?
You can occasionally hear me as the voice of Vol at Volcano Bay.
Yeah.
That's more or less all I can think of off the top of my head.
That was not listed as a complaint on TripAdvisor.
There you go. See, Volcano Bay is where it's at.
Great. You can find me on Twitter for as long as that is still up and running, at Totters. That's also my Instagram, at Totters, or Duty Poo Poo on Xbox Live. Someone asked me this. It's DOODIEPOOPOO.
Nice.
Proper way of spelling Duty Poo Poo.
Okay.
If you want to play some Overwatch. All right. We'll see you guys later. Don't be assholes. Bye.